Marvel Ultimate Alliance is back after a 10-year hiatus, under new management this time with Nintendo and Team Ninja. Fueled by the newfound explosion in global popularity that Marvel has seen in recent years, this is a game that a great many people have jumped into, while even more are bound to jump in. As you get ready to dive into it, these 15 basic tips and tricks will help you get to grips with the game's systems and mechanics. Without further ado, let's get started. Infinity Trials. Ultimate Alliance 3 can be a grindy game sometimes, especially seeing as it has a massive roster of characters, and if there are any that you don't use for a while, they end up falling behind in terms of progression. The Infinity Trials are a great place if you want to do some quick and effective grinding. You get a lot of XP from them, especially the harder wave-based ones, so tackle these often. XP Cubes. XP cubes are also a great way to level up your character, at least when they're not too high leveled, at which point the cubes become less effective. While you do get XP cubes from the aforementioned Infinity Trials as well, another reason to partake in them, there's also several of these lying around in the game itself within treasure boxes, so seek them out whenever possible. Heroic Camera. Ultimate Alliance 3 is, like its predecessors, a top-down isometric hack-and-slash title, but there's also a new heroic camera setting for you to try out. It zooms in on the character that you're playing as from a third-person perspective, and makes things much less chaotic and confusing, which, to be fair, they can be quite a bit. If you're playing solo, heroic camera is the way to go. Staggering. Certain enemies you come across in Ultimate Alliance 3 will have these purple bars beneath them, which indicates that they can be staggered. Whenever you see such enemies, this should be your primary focus. They can be quite dangerous and effective with their moves, so rather than attacking the regular pushover guys, make sure you stagger these enemies first to get them out of the way and make the rest of the battle easier for yourself. Switching. If you're playing solo, make sure you aren't constantly sticking to a single character in fights. Swapping between all 4 fighters can be a huge help in combat. Not only does it help with allowing your preferred character to heal up when they need to, it also lets you use the unique abilities and ultimates of the other characters to great effect as well. Dodging and blocking. Dodging and blocking are things that you learn about right at the beginning of the game, but it's important that you don't ignore these mechanics as they can be very handy in combat. Dodging, which functions as a dash, helps with both avoiding enemy combos and helping with the movement speed of slower characters, while blocking can be useful when being faced with AoE attacks that you might not have the time to dodge. Synergy. Combat in Ultimate Alliance 3 places a huge emphasis on working well with your teammates, whether that's in solo play or in co-op. Mechanically, that takes the form of synergy attacks, which sees 2 or more heroes combining their abilities to deal unique attacks. These attacks can deal a lot of damage and often have better range than regular attacks, and they don't really cost anything special or extra to do either, so make use of these whenever possible. Experiment with characters. Sticking to your favorite Marvel superhero can surely be tempting. Lots of people out there will want to do nothing but fly around as Iron Man, and throw around Thor's hammer, or smash things with Hulk, or swing around using Spidey's webs. But given just how many characters there are, and how they each have their own unique attacks and abilities and ultimates, you never know who might end up striking your fancy, or who might end up coming in very handy in a tough situation, so keep experimenting. Smash crates. Smashing crates is the most video gamey thing of all time. Make sure you honor the long and historic tradition of smashing crates in Ultimate Alliance 3 as well. Smashing crates nets you with red and blue orbs, which restore your health and give you EP for your attacks, so you can see how these come in handy, especially during boss fights. Team bonuses. Most characters in Ultimate Alliance 3's roster belong to one team or another, be it the Spider family, or the Defenders, or the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or the Guardians of the Galaxy, or the Avengers, or many, many others. Having 2 or more characters from the same team can provide some useful stat bonuses. It's even better if there are 3, and better still if there are 4. Environment. You'll often get cues to pick up stuff in the environment and throw it at your enemies during combat. Do this whenever you get the chance. From stunning enemies to staggering them to just doing a lot of damage, these can be pretty useful during fights. ISO 8. ISO 8 is a feature you'll unlock once you're past the first 2 chapters, which provides you with special crystals through main quests and infinity trials to provide buffs and stat boosts to your characters. Though it's easy to ignore this entirely, and maybe even desirable given the vast options available for experimentation and crafting, not to mention all the menus. It's definitely worth investing in your ISOs and preparing them with the right characters to yield some really helpful boosts. Ultimates. Ultimate abilities, or extreme moves, slowly build up during combat, but when you're fighting against large amounts of enemies that are putting up a challenge, or a particularly tough foe or boss, make sure to use these strategically. Waiting for all 4 characters to build up their extreme moves lets you launch an Ultimate Alliance Extreme attack, which deals massive damage and can be particularly useful in some of the tougher boss fights. Upgrades. Given Ultimate Alliance 3's very nature as a hack-and-slash beat-em-up, it's understandable that all some players will want to do is mash buttons. And sure, that's fun, but don't ignore your upgrades. While it's easy to forget about them entirely, upgrades purchased for Alliance enhancements with points acquired in-game apply to the entire team, so they're always useful no matter which character you're playing as. So there's no need to save your points and hang on to them for something bigger. Purchase upgrades whenever you can. Reviving. Some of the later boss fights in Ultimate Alliance 3 can be tough cookies, so you're gonna need to make sure your entire team is in good shape throughout the entire encounter. So if your teammate gets downed, make sure to revive them. Lure the boss away from the revive point and stun them, which should buy you plenty of time to run back to your buddy and get them back on their feet.
And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, please hit the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to switch on the notifications bell icon next to it. That way you'll never miss any of our videos. Thanks for watching.